Welcome back to the podcast. Today, we've got a really interesting guest on because it's somebody that has worked inside Social Shannon as a VA and then launched her own fitness business off the back of it and had 2 quite incredible months, nearly as good as my first month. But it's been honestly like genuinely like a massive increase. And we obviously think it's down to the fact that she did all the work as a VA for Social Shannon, but for the Social Shannon company before. And we wanted to kind of delve into that a little bit and go through some of the reasons why we think that was, because for a lot of coaches, it's probably the biggest thing that's holding them back. So we're going to go into some of the tactics, some of the tips, some of the reasons kind of how it happened, and hopefully you get a lot of value from it. So Lacey, you can't see her. I mean, if you're watching it, you can see her, but I'm kind of genuinely waving my hands in Lacey's direction for no real reason other than the fact that I've lost track of what I was going to say next. Fitness industry. How did you get... This is the bullshit starter question for when you forgot your train of thought. How did you get started in the fitness industry?
I studied psychology because that was the only thing I could think of that I was remotely interested in. Then when you finish psychology, you kind of like, how do I get a job without a really expensive master's? So I was just working in restaurants, just trying to figure out what to do with my life. And then I thought, what is the one thing that actually makes me happy? And it was going to the gym. Mm-hmm. So I did a self-taught PT course. And then I just was kind of working in restaurants, kind of working my way up in events, Australasia, Dakota, places like that. And then
places.
Yeah, the day before lockdown, I got sacked so that they didn't have to give me furlough. So
they got paid for furlough, the cheeky cunts.
I didn't.
Wow, you're ruthless. No, they didn't even bother getting a government grant for you.
Yeah, so fuck Dakota. But and then I kind of took the summer lockdown off. Did finish my PT. I
mean, most people did, to be fair. So it wasn't just you.
But like I was studying for the qualification.
Oh, okay.
I did the exam and then I applied for a job in a private gym near me. I was nowhere near qualified. I had no experience. The only reason I got that job was because I was a female and they desperately needed a female. So it was just me and 8 other PT guys.
All the private gyms do struggle for like female coaches.
They all had like degree levels, PhDs, strength and conditioning, and like I was nowhere near that level. But I think being thrown in with them, I definitely had to step up and learn like a higher level of coaching.
Did you pick up clients faster than they did because you were a girl?
I was like fully booked out because all the...
Always the case. I'm fucking massive and have a PhD. Yeah. I'm like, hey, I've just finished working in a bar. Full diary, straight away. All these lads are like, I'm doing another biomechanics course. Fuck it. I'm going to learn the right angle for this elbow if it fucking kills me. Devastating.
But that was I was just females, and it was just purely that the females wanted a female coach.
Oh, you know what? It's probably not. The females wanted someone who actually understood their problems.
Probably, yeah.
If the lads had probably actually just taken a bit of an interest in their lives, it probably wouldn't have been so catastrophically weighted towards you. Because I think some women actually like having a male trainer.
Yeah, like I've got a male trainer.
Yeah.
Because I prefer that more like...
Yeah, exactly. But then if you're so far that way where you're completely out of touch with what I need, you kind of go off the other end.
Yeah, for
right?
sure.
That's why it's always like the happy-go-lucky lads that do really well as well, like the ones that just have a bit of banter and chat.
A bit more casual, a bit more relatable.
We used to... Si, you remember like at Virgin Active, right? You know, the PTs that used to walk around with the iPads. If you've got an iPad, you're a knob, basically. Or you're probably not a knob. You're probably a very lovely person. But to most people, when you walk around with your iPad 24/7, like scribbling shit down about your clients, you look like a dick. And honestly, that used to always make me laugh because they'd be like, why is this part-time mum like getting more clients than me? And it's like, because you look like you're giving everyone a training assessment every time they turn up. Like, you're scary. Yeah. And you're 6'4". Like, stop it.
Because I was thinking like, shit, like I don't know all these technical terms and like I'm not doing all this programming and reviews and stuff. Like I'm just having a chat with these women. And I worried about that for a long time, but then I was the busiest one and the one that everyone wanted to work with. So
happens a lot.
Yeah.
Actually. Yeah, it's quite normal. So then from what happened then with the PT role?
So I loved my job there and I never would have left. I got offered something very different, a job that sounded way too good to be true. So I quit my job for the gym, which was a salaried role. So I'd never learned how to get my own clients. They were just assigned to me because I was a trainer for that gym.
That's good though. Like a lot of places don't do that. It's a really good place to start.
It was good to develop as a coach, but I had no skills on how to actually get clients.
Yeah. But at that point, that business owner isn't thinking like Lacey needs to go out and get her own clients because he's thinking, fuck it, I'm giving her every client that she needs, right?
So I left that job. The job that I was promised didn't work out.
They always are when they seem too good to be true.
Too good to be true. And for probably like 8 to 12 months, my life was just a train wreck. So like
we've all had that period. I think I just spoke about mine on the podcast before. So
there's a lot going on, and
you're allowed a spiral. It's fine. You're allowed one. Everyone's allowed a hole now and again.
And it just got to the point where I just wasn't really doing anything for 8 months because I was just not in a good place.
So then, obviously, we did we speak on the podcast, the YouTube video? No, we haven't. We haven't spoken about it on the podcast. We've done a YouTube video that's got some more broken down topics about this. So make sure you kind of watch that back. But yeah, so I think obviously I spoke to you about you'd done our free, what is now the Business Builder course. And I know you'd applied for a couple of success coach roles. So we have a group basically with about 2,000 coaches in it and PTs, and our one-to-one clients, when they get to a certain point, we know that there's a ready-made pool of potential candidates in there. So we always get them to post roles. And I know that you'd applied for a couple, and maybe like the business was a little bit too different from what you wanted. To be fair, I think a lot of it was like you had the psychology degree, and I think some coaches looked at that and I'm not bringing it in my business, she'll fucking show me up. But then obviously the role with Shannon came up needing VAs, and you took that. What was that like?
Yeah, it was really heavy at first because I'd gone from not working at all, suddenly like 6 hours a day. It was exhausting. And I also started to freak out, and I thought, why am I doing this? Like, I should be doing this for mine. Like, oh my God, I'm doing all this work for other coaches and I'm not doing that to my own. But then I soon realized, like, no, I'm learning skills that are going to be very valuable and that I am going to apply to my own. But it's the perfect opportunity to learn these skills like thoroughly. Yeah,
I think it's a good one because like, you don't think you can do that on your own account.
No.
Like if you think about like how many followers you have, like I can't remember how many followers I've got. Sorry, how many followers have I got now? 31.2. Is it gone 0.2 now? Yeah. Whoa, look at me. 31.2 that point. Don't forget the 0.2, it's important. So like we can handle that amount of lead generation on our account because we've got that many people. But a lot of coaches, when they first start out, it's not just as easy as saying like, oh, do 6 hours a day, you'll be dead good at it. Because there's not 6 hours of conversations to have a lot of the time. So like that's really good because obviously it's ready, and it's also, talking to a lot of different people and having a lot of different conversations.
And it was also the training that Shannon provides. Like I learned lead gen in detail, like enough to do it as a full-time employed role.
Yeah.
So I just learned like how to handle objections and like the hierarchy that you go in, resurfacing, follow-ups, and how to do all that properly.
Go on. So what does a shift as a lead generator look like? Like how does that
say
run?
If I'm doing an hour, I'll log in, I'll follow maybe 60 people in that coach's niche, target audience. Then I will go through new follower messages. From there, I'll reply to any DMs. And then if all that's dry, usually that will take up an hour. But then when that's dried up, I might message people who've liked the posts. I might resurface conversations that have kind of died off from a few weeks ago, or follow up conversations, people that haven't booked calls. And that usually fills an hour.
That's quite like a key thing because you just kind of described what an hour does for a lot of coaches. That's nowhere near enough to like, make the business move forward. Like it's a really helpful, like, I'm going to do all of this so you don't have to kind of thing. But like for some of those accounts, you're only just finishing speaking to new followers and clearing the inbox by the time you're done.
The main difference that I saw between coaches that were doing well and those that weren't getting anything from the VA service were that the coaches doing well were still putting in 2-3 hours on their own. So that 1 hour is not really going to do anything if you're not keeping on top of them conversations. Like Quinn would be doing double what I was doing.
Yeah.
And then some coaches, I would log in 24 hours later and they hadn't even touched the messages that I'd left unread and wondering why they're not getting calls booked. So having that 1 hour it's going to help, but it's not going to solve all your problems.
I think a lot of coaches are so ignorant to like the work of lead generation that either they think they're above it or like, but clearly they see the merit in it because a lot of them will hire a VA, but then only hire a VA for an hour a day and then complain that there's no calls booked.
Yeah, get
And
that a
it
lot.
really boggles me because I sometimes think like, I tell you what, you sit there for an hour and see how many calls you book in an hour, and generally it's like none or one, but it was pretty much somebody that was like inbounding anyway, and it was just like potluck. And to me, that like, it absolutely boggles me because they have massive expectations of a VA. So I think they overestimate what a VA can do for an hour. But then if they genuinely think that can be done in an hour, why are you not doing 2 or 3 hours? Because that must mean that you'd be a fucking millionaire in a week, right?
And the likelihood of booking a call in 1 hour is very low. It takes days of having a conversation with someone to build up trust to get them to the point that they want to have a call with you. I can't do that in an hour.
No, it's almost a game of attrition, isn't it? Which is, again, one of the things that we see when people do sporadic lead generation. So they think, oh, I've done 5 hours this week, but they've not really. They've done 2 hours on a Monday and 2 hours on a Friday, and then they've potted around on a Saturday morning. And you're thinking that's no way to scaffold a conversation, a relationship with someone. Like you let it die, don't you? And then it's almost like starting from the beginning again. So it's like they never pick up any momentum with it.
Yeah, I think in terms of DM management, you should just be on that every second you've got spare. You should be keeping conversations going, and then separately to that, set aside an hour to do new follows, new follower messages and things like that. But DM management, like you should just be doing that anyway.
Yeah, I was speaking to a manager of quite a large DM team. I think he manages a team of 12. He's an Arsenal fan, poor lad. But he was telling me that one of the biggest indicators of whether they were going to get leads all the way through the pipeline or whether the lead was going to drop off was speed. He said the biggest indicator that we can tell of how to get someone from point A to point B fastest is the speed that we reply to them. And it's kind of like we let them reply in their own time, but our replies are within half an hour. And if we let it go for more than half an hour, we notice a massive drop off with the amount of successful conversations that we have.
Yeah, because they just go cold. They just lose interest.
But you imagine the amount of coaches that like get a message on Wednesday afternoon and don't reply to it till Friday. I know when somebody's not on the shit when they have to post a story that says, "Hi guys, I'll get back to all inquiries Friday afternoon." You're like, you do this every week, lad.
Yeah,
like,
as soon as I wake up, I go on my DMs and I reply to anyone.
That's exactly the way I grew my business. Like I was up doing mad shit. I was always glued. I still am to an extent. I think that's a habit that I've built up more than a necessity now. But like, I remember my dad coming downstairs and he was like, "You're on your laptop from like 5 a.m. till like 7 o'clock at night. Are you okay?" And I was like, "I don't know." I was like, "We're about to find out. We're either gonna make loads of money or I'm gonna have a mental breakdown. It'll be one of the two." But like, there was stuff like, I remember being in Dublin airport and like lead genning some bloke and he's like, "Hi, I'm really interested in signing up. Are you free for a call?" And I was like, "Yeah, when?" And he was like, "In 10 minutes." And I was like, "What time's the flight?" And they were like, "An hour." And I'm like, "Yeah, I can do it." And I remember putting my earphones in and sitting in Costa and like doing this Zoom call with this bloke and signing him up like right before getting on a flight to Dublin. And like, I just think now, like I look at coaches and I think, would you do that? Like, would you do that? And a lot of them wouldn't. A lot of them would be like, "Oh no, but I'm going on. To be fair, it was a business trip. It wasn't really a holiday. But a lot of them would be like, "Well, no, I'll wait till I get home." And I think a lot of people like want the lifestyle that comes with like being a top line coach before actually doing the work to get there.
No, but it's 24/7. Like if someone's free for a call, I'm calling them there and then because the longer we leave them, the more likely they are to just completely lose interest.
Yeah. And you forget like people's attention, not just attention spans, but people's like wants and desires like shift on a daily basis. Like somebody could say something to someone at work and then they could come home and be like, "Right, I'm getting a personal trainer. I'm dealing with this right now." And it's not like underhanded by making sure you sell them when like the iron's hot, because they will do that cycle like 2 or 3 times a week. But if nobody ever catches them at that point, they'll never get what they want because they'll always talk themselves out of it. And you're absolutely right on that. Like if someone says, "Oh, I've got a call in an hour," if you've got, if there's no reason why you can't do that call in an hour, I don't see why you wouldn't do it.
And even if it's not the full sales call, just get them on for 10 minutes. And then they're far more likely to actually book in a proper sales call.
Do you do a lot of like 10-minute calls?
As soon as I can get on the phone with someone, I will. And just get chatting. I just think of it like girl chat. Yeah. And it's just literally just making friends. And then that trust is just there.
You know what? That's a really good point. That because a lot of people want. The problem is a lot. That's a bit of a skill set. It's a bit of a varied skill set, isn't it? Like, but as a coach, as a lead generator, that's probably not something that you're trained in. To be fair, like a lot of lead generators do struggle on the phone because they're very good at like behind the computer, but then like speaking to someone is a little bit different. But if you're a coach, you kind of have to do every role in the business, and there is a role. People interchange that what the role's called, but it is like an appointment setter plus, which is somebody who like handles inbound inquiries and rings people, and like we have Katie that does it for us, like confirms people's call times. If somebody puts in an application but doesn't sign up, she rings them, finds out why they didn't book a call. If somebody doesn't turn up to a call, she rings them and finds out why they didn't turn up to the call. Like if somebody's purchased like one of our things, she'll ring them and make sure that they got everything okay. And is there anything else that we need from us? Is there anything else? And that is another role in itself that I don't think a lot of people are aware of, but is extremely effective. A lot of coaches don't run that because it's another member of staff. And obviously like we're actually going to hire someone, I think, to bring in and do that. So Katie does it at the minute, but Katie's our messaging manager and only works part-time because she's got a young baby. So like, I want someone doing it like 4 or 5 hours a day, and I'll report back on here like when I figure out what the answer is. But for you doing it as a business owner, you might as well have all those roles because you'll get, it's your business.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of people are a bit like, I don't want to give away a phone call if they're not willing to sign up.
I think one of the reasons why I grew so fast is because I was willing to work for free. I wanted to work for free.
Yeah, you took on a bunch of clients for free.
Yeah,
first,
I
right?
still do it. I offer out free places all the time, free calls, because if I coached 3 free girls for free for 16 weeks, one of them re-signed at full price, and from another one, 2 of her friends signed up.
Yeah.
And another one did me such amazing content that I will get sign-ups off of that.
Yeah.
But that was 3 girls of me coaching for free for 16 weeks at 100% effort with no guaranteed profit. But if you love it that much, you want to do it for free.
Yeah, I agree. And I think that a lot of it is down to like the passion of the role and stuff like that as well. Because a lot of people, I think they like coaching. They like the idea of having a coaching job, but I don't think they truly like love the coaching process. They don't love working with people. They just love talking about the gym for a job.
That's how I got such a better job than I was qualified for in the first place. Because I just walked in and I said, can I just work here for free? I just want some experience. Like I've just qualified. And he was like, oh, we'll just give you a job. But I was willing to do that for free.
Yeah. And that doesn't mean like go out and offer your program out for free to like every Tom, Dick and Harry. But
I think if you do more than what you get paid to do, one day you'll get paid more to do than what you do.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah. And I think being willing to do those kind of jobs that maybe people don't really want to get on the phone to everyone, but like it's massively useful.
The more you give, the more you get with this.
And for me, like a 10-minute call actually is more time efficient than spending fucking 3 days waiting for someone to get back to you.
Yeah.
Like people are slow at replying. Like if you need to get hold of me, ring me. Because if you send me a message, I'll deal with that later.
Yeah.
Then I'll put it in my pocket. Unless you're Lewis, and I'll just ignore your phone call anyway. He knows I do that, so I can quite happily say it. But like if I get a phone call and I'm like, oh yeah, I'll probably answer this. You can get all the information you need out of me in one go. Get me to agree or disagree or sign whatever or make payment for whatever. But like if you text me, it always goes on my to-do pile. And my to-do pile's like this, so I just never get around to it. So, the merit behind, what do you do then on these 10-minute calls? Like, what would your tactic be?
I'd just be like, so tell me a bit about where you're at. Where would you like to be? And people just talk. People just will tell you their life story, and you just kind of drop in bits of like, yeah, like I completely understand how you feel, and this is what you need, and just not being pushy at all, just genuinely taking an interest and just genuinely having compassion for them and just building trust. And
then what's the outcome of that call? Like what?
Well, usually
they're the next step.
Usually they're the one asking you, right? How do I sign up?
Yeah, and then you just do a full consultation call afterwards.
Yeah, I'll call it more like a goal setting session. Like let's.
She accidentally does some stuff that's really good that you don't know. I don't even do that. So like one of the tactics that a lot of like advanced salespeople use is naming the calls, like that people get something out of it. So like internally, you will call it like a triage call and a sales call. But externally, you put names on it to like entice people to do it.
I actually didn't know this. Last night, Quinn was like, I was on a triage call. I was like, a what?
Yeah. No, but you've done it, yeah.
I've been doing it this whole time.
Well, not accidentally, because obviously you've clearly thought it through. But like, it's actually a really cool point that when you name your call, like they're going to benefit from it. So like for us, we're trying to move to something like this because we're very like, ours is so harsh. Ours is like, are you ready to sign up now? Are you going to pay us money? Are you locked in any other contract that's going to mean that this call is a fucking waste of time? Do you have a business partner that you need to ask or a partner that you need to ask? And if the answer no to any of them, we're like, fuck doing a call. To be fair, we're maximum quota. We're doing 45 calls a week at the minute. So we can be that picky. But if I want to maximize business, my next step would be hire more sales staff and open the doors. And one of the next steps would be to have this 10-minute and 60-minute for us, like yours would probably be 10 and 30, right? Or 30-ish. And give them actual names of like, this is what you're going to get from being on this call.
Yeah.
So whether it's like a clarity call and then a goal setting session or whatever that looks like, it shows a benefit. Whereas if you're like, do you want to get on a call so I can sell you my program? Then it's a bit like, no.
I really disguise it. Like I'll be like, let's book in a call. We'll just get really specific on what your goal is and I'll explain to you how it works and what the plan's going to look like, just so that you've got a better understanding of it. Not saying anything to do with price or anything. Then just by the end of the call, then they're like, okay, and like how much is it? But by then they're already sold. So it's just, I think at your level, you have to pre-qualify a lot.
I don't know. I think we do with the amount of calls that we book compared to the amount of available slots that we've got. But I still think it would be more work. Like our sales percentage would go down, but I think we could make more total sales by moving to something that's a little bit more open.
My pre-qualifying is a lot more gentle because I'm just trying to get people to, because I think once I can get talking to people, then there's more chance of them converting to a sale. But if I'm making them jump through 10 hoops first just to qualify to even talk to me, it's too...
You're not going to get on the phone to many people at that point either. And then every time you get on a call, it's going to feel really alien and a bit weird to you. And again, like you practice the VA stuff so much by doing it on so many accounts, you got really good at it. It's the same concept with sales calls.
And it matches, because my coaching is softer, it's feminine, it's compassionate. So it matches the type of people that I'm trying to work with. Yeah.
No, I agree. And that's a really good kind of thought process between doing it. And, you know, to coaches listening to this, definitely just making, 10, 15-minute slots available for like we call them fact finds. So we do a lot of outbound, we don't do a lot of outbound, we do some outbound calling. It's actually really profitable. We just don't do enough of it because we don't have the staff, which is something that I'm working on at the minute. But we call a lot of people and just be like, hey, we've noticed that you've bought our lead gen course. Just trying to make sure that you got what you needed out of it. Like, how are things going? And then Stu, who kind of does it, but he's full with calls now. That's why we don't do it anymore. But Stu was doing it, and we'll just fill out a little form of like who the person is, what the goal is, what the struggles are. So then we've got it all on file. And then if they book in a sales call, great. But if they don't, we know exactly who to come back with. If we've got anything that will help that person, we can come. Like, I've just done this video on this, and obviously you're on our list of people that need help with lead generation. There's this thing, go and do it. Then it helps us build a lot of trust really, really quickly as well.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna talk about numbers here, which I know is slightly bit to be for some people. So month 1 you did 3.5.
Yeah, and I'm talking 0. Like when I say 0, I was less than 0. 0 to 3.5.
Yeah. So 0 to 3.5, and then last month you did.
And November, because of Black Friday, I did just over 7K.
Yeah. That's very, very good. So, 10 and a bit K in a couple of months is obviously a massive growth of an online business.
I couldn't contact any of my previous clients by law. So
from the other gym?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah,
and all my followers, they weren't following me for fitness reasons. I've had that account.
No, I rember what your account looked like before you started.
I did
wispy hair in Dubai.
Yeah, I did an analysis and it was like 84% male. So I was like, great.
Actually, go on. So what did you do to counteract that? Because I bet we've got loads of women that want to move into fitness and then have had accounts that either by accident, because yours wasn't particularly bad, but we get some that are when you look at them and you're like, you used You used to proper, not beg it, beg it. You used to proper beg it on Instagram, and now that you've got like 90% male follow, every time like they put, here's my coaching program, and it would be like one person and put a thumb up, and then it would be like 94 love hearts and a marriage proposal, and like, do you sell pictures of your feet?
Yeah, I got a few of them, but
what was your process on like almost legitimizing your profile?
Like the strategy would be, as I followed more females, more females would follow back. A lot of my content is directly, I will specify female, women. It's feminine content. So it's just gradually over time, it's just started to sway more that way.
One thing that I noticed that you did that maybe you didn't notice is that you started getting a lot of female clients, or the ones that you took on for free. Your clients for, you don't have a huge client list.
No.
Like you don't have hundreds and hundreds of clients, but your clients are really good at like sharing and tagging you in stuff and stuff like that.
And I'll specifically, especially if I'm giving away something for free, I'll target people that seem friendly and that seem generous enough to post on the story or something. Because that's the aim ultimately. Because
I feel like you did that quite well.
Yeah.
Like you networked really well with people that would have your target audience.
And I got really lucky with really nice girls that all kind of would do that for me in return for me coaching them.
Yeah.
And as they saw each other doing it, they all got more confident at taking pictures and stuff like that. So I feel really lucky with the girls that I work with.
Yeah, absolutely. That was a massive help. But that like 5 minutes of information there for some girls will actually save their coaching businesses, because like I've told people to start new accounts before, like genuinely, like people with like, 85% male following, and most of that following wasn't UK.
Yeah.
So, the chances of somebody buying, but then I think a lot of people then get worried about their engagement, because they start posting stuff that nobody likes, obviously, because 74% of their audience are there to like bum pictures.
I didn't want to start from fresh, because I'd uploaded a lot of pictures and videos of me training in the past.
But like I said, yours wasn't like...
It wasn't...
Yours was like that, I think, not accidentally, but like, it wasn't like... It wasn't being driven in that way. Like some accounts are driven in that way. Like when people are fitness models and influencers before they get into coaching, they almost drive it that way, because like getting a sponsorship, it doesn't matter. Like it doesn't matter whether it's male or female. They just want to see big numbers and big engagement. So I think that's what they kind of go after when they're younger. And then when they get a bit older, they're like, oh, fuck me. Like this isn't going to work out long term. So like, I think that definitely that bit of information will probably save a lot of girls' businesses. And then if you are starting a new account, don't do that to get it there. And don't get yourself in that hole in the first place would be my first port of call. And then the VA stuff, what do you think were the biggest takeaways that you took from that allowed you to grow your business faster?
So definitely going through the training procedures that Shannon puts in, like the SOPs and stuff like that. I learned how to do lead gen as a job so that I could do it for myself and be my own VA and do it to a professional standard. So hit targets within the hour, and to know specifically who to target and what works and what kind of messages get responses and what don't. What comes across creepy, what comes across personal, what comes across random.
Yeah, but it is a skill, isn't it? And like we give out scripts and stuff like that, but you can only script like so much of a conversation. Like you can't, it's not like AI where we can be like, okay, you say this next and it will work perfectly. Like,
yeah, I try to keep it really natural and unscripted.
Yeah, I use it as like a structure just so I don't go around the houses for too much. But like, a lot of people have said this, and I agree, that it's almost like chess. It's like you're trying to move your pieces to this certain point, but there's someone else moving their pieces as well, and it's like you've almost got to maneuver around it and try and get it in the way that you want. You can't just fucking queen to the other end of the board and just expect to take out everything in your way. And I think a lot of people run DM conversations like that. It's like, I am step 1, step 2, step 3, step 4, and I don't give a fuck what you say. This is the direction that we're going in.
And I think a lot of people, they'll be in conversations about something that's nothing to do with fitness, and coaches will be thinking like, what is the point in this? I don't care. But it's not pointless, because you're building trust with that person.
Yeah.
Even if you're talking about something completely random that you do not care about. If it's just a genuine conversation, in a few weeks, I guarantee they're going to see one of your posts and come back to you.
Yeah. And it's about having that pipeline working. Like, first stage is just, again, like building trust. The second stage is getting them to take some advice from you. Because once they've taken some advice from you, then it's quite easy to move them through the rest of the process. But I think a lot of people expect immediately for that to work. Like, you have to have a lot of authority as a coach, I think, to like, we're lucky that we're in that place now where we can be like, what's your business? Like, who do you work with? How much you charging? What do you want to do? Cool. Do you want us to help you with that? And it's, you know, that's built up over time. When we first started doing it, it was like, it was a lot different. The conversations were so much longer. It was about like, hey, like, I know we've been speaking a little bit about your business and like, I see you're a personal trainer. I'm actually like running this webinar thing. Like, do you want to jump on it? Like, yeah, I will. Sit there for an hour and listen to me chat shit about a certain topic. Like, oh, that was really useful. Do you know what I meant to ask actually that I didn't get a chance to ask? Like, what would you do about this? And then you're in that point. Yeah. But to do that, I've had to like chat shit to them for a week, like a couple of posts, leave a couple of Saki story comments and stuff that they've done, then invite them to a webinar, then chat shit in their ear for an hour before they've even gone, oh, actually, this guy knows what he's talking about.
Yeah, exactly. Making friends, and then they think that you're someone worth listening to.
Yeah, I think you've got to make that connection first. But
if you change the term lead gen to making friends on the internet, people probably do better with it.
Yeah, I think they would. But then I also feel that there's certain people when they get to a certain point, they actually think they're above that. They're like, and again, it comes down to that, like willing to work for free, like willing to do things for other people. They're a bit like, well, if they're not going to buy, I'm not going to bother. Yeah. And you're like, well, you don't know that. Like, we've had some people that like genuinely like they've booked calls and we've been like, yo, that's never going to work. That's never going through that. And then they've got on the phone and be like, oh, by the way, like they were a millionaire and they sold the business and now they want to get into like, you know, like 500 followers, like 6 posts about training, like nothing like, you know, nothing nondescript. And we're like, they're a bit fresh for us. Like, there's no way. Oh yeah, I ran like this business before and then I sold it and, you know, now I've got this and like, yeah, fuck it. I'd rather just pay for it up front. I've got the money in the bank. And if you take that approach of like, oh, they look like they're going to be shit then, you're going to pass out on so much business, I think.
Yeah, you never really know who's going to be a potential client until you've spent time talking to them.
So there you go. There's the big takeaways. Get on the phone to more people, make more friends, do shit for free until you're getting paid well for it. So any parting comments?
What, like advice?
Philosophical, flex that psychology degree.
I was thinking about this. For people that are in my position, so the newbies, just getting started, make a friend who is a coach at the same or above level as you, because otherwise it can be a very lonely road when you're in your bedroom by yourself and you've had a shit day, a shit week, and no one's signed up for a month. Then you need a friend to kind of just vent to, just someone that's doing the same thing as you. Like, between coaches, it's not competitive. Like, there's enough humans in the world to go around. Make friends with a coach and it's going to help you through so many tough days when otherwise you would feel. There's been times when literally I would say to Quinn, I can't do this. I'm just going to work for you. This is not for me. Oh. In October, I was like, I feel like shit.
Look what happened in November.
I'm done. And then
got over the hump.
Yeah, and then November was a good month. But just reach out to other coaches and just connect with the coaches and make friends, and you'll realise that when you feel like you're doing everything wrong or you're not doing enough, everyone else is feeling the same, and it keeps you going.
Yeah. I need some of them. I feel like I've not got people like that. I'm just like,
because no one's on your level.
I'm just weird as well. I don't do that. I genuinely don't. Like, if we have a bad month, I'm like, sound next month. But I think I'm just a robot.
Yeah.
To be fair, I'm definitely like, your psychology degree's going like this now. You're like, that's repress this and repress that, childhood this, that's a red flag, trauma damage, all of that stuff. But I'm sure you can tell that anyway from listening to me for so long. No, thank you very much for that. It was very, very useful.
Thank you for having me.
Where can people find you if they want to?
I'm on Instagram at Lacey French and newly on TikTok.
Are you newly on TikTok?
Yes.
That's because we had an event a couple of weeks ago and P. Louise, who runs a massive makeup company, if you don't know who that is, but I'm name dropping because I spoke to her in person and now she follows me on Instagram. No, I'm joking. She did a massive talk. Well, basically we all did our talks on like Instagram and running Facebook groups, and she just came in and was like, all of that's fucked. It's all shit. TikTok's the way to go. And then everyone's head fell off.
Yeah,
But
I've still not quite figured it out, but
we're working on it. We've not cracked it. Simon's got a newborn. I'm just neurotic. But yeah, we're working on the TikTok thing as well. So yeah, what was your TikTok? Lacey French?
Lacey French PT.
Oh, Lacey French PT. Why have you not changed your Instagram name to that as well?
Because Lacey French is what I want, but it was taken on TikTok already. So
There's another Lacey French?
yeah, I mean,
That's not a very common name, really.
apparently it is.
There you go. You're going to get an email soon like, I've got your TikTok. How much do you want? Cool. Thank you very much. Make sure that you keep checking back. Are we still dropping a podcast today? It won't be by this time, so you'll have to fucking wait. But I'm assuming that you don't listen to our podcast every single day anyway. And if you do, please drop me a message and let me know that you listen to our podcast every single day and I'll send you a Christmas card. See you later.